Oh, gee. Okay, she's here. Alright, are you ready to see some aerobatics? The stage is yours, Angel. But as she did so, one of her feet went below the surface, where it apparently had caught onto something, causing her to spin out of control. She made a rough landing, rolling on the ground a few times after colliding with the sand. Can you move it? A bit, but it really starts to hurt if I go further than this. At least it doesn't seem to be broken. Yeah, I guess it's a sprain. Happens all the time. I can see you're straining without the bandage. I'm fine, really. Don't worry about it. If you couldn't practice without it, maybe you aren't ready to compete without it yet. You know what? I will fly and I'll do the best damn job I've ever done, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Please welcome Angel. However, after a few seconds passed, Adine still hadn't emerged. My apologies. It looks like number 11 will not be flying today. Adine, what did you do? Let's just go somewhere else. Okay. She thought about the conversation afterwards, didn't she? She had all kinds of time between all the other competitors, and she thought about it, and yeah, that would be. I would do the same thing, honestly. We walked away from the festival and sat down under a tree in the outskirts of town. As the competition was already nearly over, the darkness had already set in. Here should be good. So, what made you reconsider? You were right with everything you said. When I was inside and had a bit of time to cool off, I'd realized I didn't want to do it like this, even if I'd have to wait another year. How do you feel now? I know it was the right thing to do, but I can't help thinking that I just came so close, that I could have done it if it hadn't been for that stupid accident. You'll have another chance, I promise. Oh, yes, don't make promises you can't keep. Oh, this game toys with me. It toys with me so much. Yeah, me. Hey, Ink, look at the sky. Can you see that light? That one looks a bit brighter than all the others. Did she say that one that looked a bit brighter? Whatever. I looked up and saw many celestial bodies lighting up the sky. One of them was noticeably brighter than all the other stars. Um, the administrator said, I think it was like, was it a week or two or a week? Because it very well could have already been a week. Uh, worrying, continuing. Yeah. I usually practice in the evening and stay until it's dark, so I see the stars pretty often. I noticed something about that one. It moves. How does it move? It looks pretty stationary to me. You won't notice it just by looking at it, but over the last couple of weeks I've noticed it's changed position when comparing it to other stars. It can't be a star then. Stars don't move. They have an office in one of the cities that watches these kind of things. I called them about it a while ago. What did they say? It's just an asteroid passing by. It's even been on the news a few times. That makes it sound pretty important. It does sound pretty important. um, Considering what we heard, but also it could just be an asteroid. This could be horrible misdirection because this game's good at that. Or it's good misdirection, but horrible for me, is what I meant by that. Yeah, it's a big one apparently. Otherwise we wouldn't even be able to see it without a telescope. Everything's continuing to point up to the comet. Do they think it's dangerous? Why would it be? I don't know. It could hit the moon or something like that. They assured me that's not going to happen. They say calculating the paths of celestial bodies is a very complicated science, and not really an exact one. They know it's not going to hit the moon, but they're watching it to make sure it passes safely. That is so it. It'll be close to hitting the moon, therefore it'll get redirected. This is great news. Not that just watching it'll make a difference. They don't really know anything more. Apparently they're also really underfunded. The council doesn't see the need to waste people's time and money to look into the sky all day. Some people have agreed over here on human Earth as well, huh? That's strange, don't you think? It used to be a pretty important job, but over time the funding got less and less until only this token office in our biggest city was left. I see. It's such a shame, since the whole institution was based on our creation story. In what way? In one of the stories, our creator told us to watch the skies. That would explain it. Because yeah, he would have created them after he knew what time period he was in, and one of the leading theories of the dinosaurs' extinction was an asteroid or whatever. So yeah, he would have definitely told them, and it's just faded away because no one saw the need for it. I love this game. This is a good time as any to mention it. I love this game. It has no plot holes ever that I've noticed. Everything connects and it's fantastic. How religious are you, really? What exactly do you mean? Well, dragons have these myths about humans. How many of them do you actually believe are true? Oh, I believe all of it. I just love reading the stories, theories, and all that. Why is that? Well, I think there's a lot we can learn from it. Much of our society is based on it, including our laws and traditions. I see. Can I ask you a question? Sure, go ahead. What would you think if I told you I'm a time traveler from the future? Hey, don't joke about something like that. Why not? Because I'd believe you. Besides, if you were really a time traveler, I'd think you'd come from the past, like the time we were created. Really? Why is that? Because that's the only time in our history where we know of humans ever being here. If you came from the future, that would mean humans were to show up at some point in our future history. Sorry. And I'm not sure how or why that would happen. My, my internal systems are really wonked out. I am, burping so much for no good reason. Wouldn't that mean that I was your creator? Well, not necessarily. There could have been other humans around, right? Your myths only mention one, though. Yeah, but people speculate, trying to find explanations for those old myths. Maybe there were more humans around, and they just died. Or their creation rebelled and killed them. Others say they fled across the ocean. We just don't know. Kind of like how we don't exactly know how the moon was formed, We might not necessarily know how the dinosaurs went extinct, either. I think we have a pretty solid idea. I think we kind of decided it was a meteor or something. I haven't read up on that recently, though. It's not been important. What do you think? I don't know. I like reading about all the theories and trying to piece the puzzle together myself. That's why I want to visit the underground building we found. Some of the theories are quite out there. Like what? For example, one says the humans are really aliens who came from a different planet. They created us for some reason and then just vanished again. Almost, almost true, except, just a different time. What would they do that for? Maybe it's an experiment and they're testing us. Some say they're always watching us from up there somewhere with a giant mothership, and that maybe one day they'll return when we're ready to join them. That's pretty out there, I'll say. Also something us Earthlings believe. Us human Earthlings. Future Earthlings, actually. It's the same planet. Isn't that the idea? The dragons are just here because we went back in time and everything. Yeah, I guess it is actually the exact same planet, just back in time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to refer to that, actually. Told you so. What about the humanity you come from, though? Why don't you tell me more about your world? I don't like talking about that. It's much prettier here. I don't believe you. It's the truth. I believe it when I see it through my own eyes. Where did I get through from? I'll believe it when I see it with my own eyes. I'd love to visit your world. I don't think it'd be a good idea for you to visit us right now. Why not? Do you know what our world is like? Are there any rumors about that? Not really. There hasn't been much speculation about that yet. Of course, we're curious, though. Next time we want to send one of our ambassadors into your world to make it even and all that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Don't be so negative. I'm sorry, it's not up to me to determine the best course of action. I'm just a lowly ambassador, after all. Not quite as lowly as a waitress with nothing more than high aspirations. Maybe it's time for me to go home. I would walk you, but I guess you'd be faster if you flew. Nah, I'd rather not without the bandage. Are you serious? You were going to do your performance like that? And you were going to do your performance like that? I know, I shouldn't have tried. You don't have to bring that up again. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I think you made the right decision in the end. Thank you. Shall we go then? Sure. Pleasant walk with Adine. And, well, I mean, we don't get to see it because we never do, but it happened. I can be pretty sure it happened. There we are. Do you want to come in for a bit? Would be a shame for you to have to come all this way for nothing. Sure. She opened the door, wiping her feet on the doormat before she went inside. Can I offer you something to drink, maybe? No, thanks, I'm good. How about some TV? That could be interesting. I haven't watched TV in ages, and I don't have one in the apartment. You're right, you've got a pretty decent apartment, but they didn't provide a TV. I wonder why. Maybe they wanted to avoid culture shock or something like that. You got a shelf full of books, though. Why would books be fine and not a TV? I suppose when they give me books, they know what I'm going to read, but on TV, they can't really regulate the content I'm going to see. This isn't China. Wait, China or Korea? Oh geez, I might have just made a horribly racist joke and it wasn't even right. We're gonna move on. At least if TV works the same way ours used to. That's true. Maybe they just thought your time would be better spent elsewhere. Fair enough, TV will waste your life away if you're not careful. I guess, if they didn't want me to watch TV, they certainly never told me. Actually, there's a series on right now that would be pretty interesting to you. Could be pretty interesting. What is it? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Do you want me to put it on or not? Sure, let's do it. Adine turned on the TV, and a brief flicker appeared on the screen before it was filled with the image of a house from the outside. Well, that doesn't look unusual. Just wait a bit. The camera cut to the inside of the home while the chattering of small talk could be heard. Then some figures entered the living room on the screen. They were grotesque, malformed creatures with rather cartoony proportions, covered in odd lumps all over their body. They all shared the same odd skin tone. Do I remember something earlier about like a TV show that like had? I'm remembering something. I feel like one of the characters mentioned a weird. Oh wait, no, I know what it was. It was mentioned in Angels of Broken Hearts, one of the comic panels that I saw on the website, because I was just looking around the website because I haven't really, and I saw that and I was interested and I looked at a few of the panels. They mentioned, I think, this precise show, which is a nice little bit of background for me, actually. It was clear to me that these figures were played by actors in obviously fake, bulky costumes that reminded me of mascots. What are those? Humans? Yeah. Humans? Yeah, I was so surprised my voice didn't even work right. That's the name of the series. It's a typical sitcom about a contemporary family as we would expect it, but the twist is that everyone is human. That would be a twist. And then I realized why I hadn't been able to identify the creatures on the screen as humans. They were all naked. Since the dragon's concept of clothing was different, they had applied their own principles when creating the series. Yeah? It was quite bizarre to see a typical family sitcom where all the characters were in obviously fake costumes and often also happened to be naked. Do you like it? It's one of my favorites. While it is a sitcom, it manages to address serious and deep issues fairly often, which I don't think would be as effective if we weren't watching them through the lens of this alternate reality. This one isn't a bad episode, but it's already nearly over. I guess there's no point in just watching the ending. True. By this point, the credits were already rolling and Adine turned off the TV again. Well, I mean, there was no point in watching the ending, and yet we did it. What do you think? Let's just say that if a human looking like that suddenly showed up in our world, people would probably run away screaming. They don't look that bad. Sure, it's impressive if we consider what they had to work with, but there's a few things they got wrong. Like what? For one, humans mostly wear clothing, and secondly, we don't have tails. Those are just small details. The series is just still good, though. Is it popular? For sure, many people love it. I see. I hope they aren't too scared of me when they see how different I am, though. I didn't run away screaming when I first met you, did I? True. Now that you're already here, there's something you could help me with. What is it? Well, it'd be a huge favor to ask, and it's kinda embarrassing. Just say it. The worst I can do is say no. How should I say this? It's about my shower. I get pretty dirty from practice sometimes, especially from the bad landings, and recently the detachable shower head broke. That usually wouldn't be much of a problem, but with this injury I can't quite reach a few places on my own. It's already not ideal having to manage everything with my wings, but now it's even harder. You want me to scrub your back? I guess you could put it that way. Told you it was embarrassing. I'll do it. I mean, why would I not? To be fair, like, just helping out a friend. Don't worry about it, I'm glad to help. Thanks. This way. There's the mic hit. That's always pleasant. I followed her, entering the rather large bathroom. It had to be rather large to accommodate a dragon, wouldn't it? The shower is huge. I wouldn't mind having one of these. This isn't just your regular dragon-sized shower. It's made specifically for a flyer like me. We need enough room to stretch our wings. Just think of the possibilities. She took off her goggles and stepped into the roomy walk-in shower. After pressing a button on the wall, water started flowing from the shower head mounted on the wall. I can appreciate that because this is like the main room, they're not showing her still in this room while we're talking. Like, I can definitely appreciate a little detail like that. Especially since, like, when you show up to Adine's house and you're talking to her at the door, it just shows, like, the outside of the apartments, which is kind of weird. She moved around a bit, stretching this way and that in order to cover her whole body in the water. Soon afterwards, she pressed the button on the wall again and the water flow stopped. She turned to show me her back, wings splayed. That is actually, like, a huge shower, by the way. Like, I know it said it was a large shower, but that's actually huge. And hold on, like, I'm looking at those dials now. Like I've got this in front of me, and I'm looking at the dials, because it said a button. I mean, those might be buttons of some kind. I just wonder, like, what the temperature control and everything is, because I'm like that. The soap and sponge should be right there. I took a sponge that wasn't unlike the ones I knew from back home and added some soap from a rather big bowl. It seemed to me that each species had their own challenges that needed to be overcome when it came to daily tasks like this one, emphasized by all the different design choices when it came to everyday items. You can start with the wings and work your way down from there. Sure thing. I couldn't help making a joke to ease the tension a bit when I put the sponge to her muzzle. Hey, it looks like you've got something here. Oh, wait, it's just your stripes. Hey, stop that. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Good job, now I've got soap in my nose. I started scrubbing her wings. Now that I could see them up close and fully extended, I found them to be quite impressive. Yeah, okay. I've drawn a few dragons in my time, and the wings are always something I can never seem to get right. They always look just not anatomically correct in the slightest. You know, I actually tried to do that before. What do you mean? Washing off those stripes? Why? Well, I was just a child back then. You know how kids are, they make fun of everything. Though I don't know if human children are the same way. They are, trust me. Don't press too hard there, that's the injured soldier. Soldier. Yes, the injured soldier. That works, just not in this case. I'll be careful. Eventually, I reached her lower back, and while I was watching a particular spot on her left side, I could see her leg twitching slightly. Are you ticklish there? I guess you noticed. What happens if I do this? I repeated my menstruations, moving the sponge in circles over that particular spot. Hey, stop that! She started squirming, and suddenly her tail whacked around to hit me in the face, causing me to stumble and fall over backwards. Are you okay? I guess I deserve that. Well, you tickle the dragon, you get the tail, apparently. The forked tip of her tail was still hovering inches in front of my face. Its peculiar shape reminded me of something, but I couldn't help but grab it and hold it like a telephone. And I couldn't help but grab it and hold it like a telephone. Hello? Hello? What are you doing? I think your phone isn't working. Stop being silly. Alright, I'm nearly done anyway. I resumed my scrubbing. By now, only her tail was left. Not being entirely sure about my technique, I moved the sponge over the tail's whole length in small circles. When I was nearly done, I noticed a low rumble emanating from her, reminding me of what an oversized cat's purr might sound like. Dragon purring. Interesting. Is that... Are you purring? Suddenly her expression changed as she looked over her shoulder. Oh, are you done? You should take a step back if you don't want to get hit by the water. she was purring and she's embarrassed, isn't she? That's adorable. After I left the shower again, she pressed a button on the wall, and the water resumed once more. She only stood under it briefly and moved around a bit until the water had completely washed off the suds. When she turned the water off again, I realized it didn't cling to her much at all. After she shook herself for a bit, she stepped out again, nearly dry. Thanks, I really needed that. You're welcome. It's probably getting late for you, and I already held you up this long. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's already dark outside. I guess that took longer than I thought. Wasn't it dark when we were already out there? It was like, the moon was almost... like halfway up into the sky. I feel like just maybe they made that scene a little less specifically than they might have. I'm not supposed to go outside this late. You're right, we were advised by the police to stay inside after nightfall because of everything that's going on. For me, this is even more important. We don't know if there's anyone out there who might want to target me. I suppose you just have to spend the night then. I guess so. Oh, the fireworks. Okay, I can't tell if that's like... I couldn't tell if those crackles were... Okay, I think those crackles were actually audio issues, not the fireworks, because those were definitely fireworks. There's some nice fireworks, and no, I did not miss the card of conflict. Wow, that was pleasant. Let's check on status, shall we? Alright, still impressed. 4 scenes. Sounds right. And we're on conflict, as I said. Okay. That was incredibly pleasant. I very much enjoyed that. That was really nice, actually. I really like Adine. Oh, hold on. Okay. I don't know how I didn't notice that until right now. You know, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna say, you know, that was Lorem at one point. We are going to exit out of that and continue on as if I didn't notice anything. I am almost starting to think that being told to check status was more of a curse than a blessing. Oh no, at least now I know that, provided there's not some other reason, I can know that something happened before it happens, or before my character knows it happens, because that's... We're moving on. We're just gonna move on. After a night of turbulent dreams, my consciousness returned to the shores of the waking world. Today is the day of the big fireworks. Who shall I bring? I have one choice. I guess I'm bringing Adine then. I mean, I don't have much of a choice unless I just want to be a complete piece of crap and just go alone. That would be rude at this point. I guess she's here. Are you ready? Ready for what? The fireworks, silly. Oh, of course, let's go. What was that question? Of course I'm... A, of course I'm ready. B, what do I mean? What does she mean? After a few minutes of walking, we arrived at a rather empty-looking area near the edge of town. Here we are. If this is everyone, I'm disappointed. I thought it would be crowded here. This is actually one of my training spots, and it turns out you can see the fireworks pretty well from here, too. So this is your secret spot, then? I guess you could say so. Well, now that I know of it, I suppose it's not so secret anymore. Not if you keep it to yourself. We could make it our secret. If you say so. Hey, it looks like it's starting. Now, take a good look. We waited quietly as the stillness of the night enveloped us. Soon I heard the sound of the first rocket making its way into the night sky, after which it exploded like in a pattern of colors. Yeah, that actually sounds like distant fireworks. That's I mean, I imagine they probably actually just captured some for the game, but that's actually incredibly good. More rockets followed, their thunderous noise echoing throughout the land. Well, that's pretty. Also surprisingly accurate, even though... Okay, those 4 on the bottom are, like, super bright. Suddenly, a terrible realization hit me. Considering how public of an event this was and how everyone would be watching the fireworks, now would be the best time for Reza to make his move. Not only was the village basically deserted, but the sound of the fireworks would also overshadow any gunshots, giving him as much security as he would ever have. As the portal had been repaired by the mysterious person I met, now was the perfect time for Reza to make his getaway, and I was the only one who knew. Adine, I think we need to go, now. Stop joking around, Ink, you still haven't seen the best part. I know where Reza is, we need to stop him. Are you serious? Yes, I am. What should we do then? Maybe you could fly and get us some help. I'll try to buy us some time by confronting him. Alright, where should I meet you? Somewhere near the portal, he'll be there. Let's go. Oh my god. I actually managed to forget about Reza in all of this. That... I'm just as bad as the character with, like, short-term memory loss, especially, like, with the fireworks earlier. He was literally like, who should I invite to see the fireworks? In his head, and then he invited Adine, and then she got there, and she said, are you ready? And I forgot what I invited her there for. I arrived at the portal just a few minutes later. I couldn't help but be glad that it was still turned off and didn't appear to have been used recently, but it meant Reza was still here somewhere. I looked around, thinking about where he could be, or if it was worth waiting for him here, when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. Here goes my, burps again. Hesitating, I drew nearer. Yeah, Sebastian is on watch the night of the fireworks. I checked Sebastian for any signs of life and found nothing. However, his body was still warm. Reza was here very recently, but he hadn't used the portal just yet. Why? Sebastian's guard post was not just for the portal itself, but also the surrounding area. Since Reza was already here, he probably had some unfinished business very close by. The underground building. The administrator told me all about the prowess of their generators within. It probably hadn't been hard for Reza to guess the same, or to try stealing them from a place he knew would be even more deserted than the rest of the village was right now. He also didn't have to go far from the portal. All things considered, it was the only option that made sense to me. I could have waited for Reza here, but in the end I decided it would be better to meet him underground. If there was going to be a confrontation, I was sure I would have the advantage in a more crowded space. I mean, technically if he has a gun, then yeah, you wouldn't want to be in the open, but also, it's underground. If you're injured, you'll be sitting there. Well, I mean, I guess Adine's actually coming back. Even in the darkness, it was easy for me to spot the site where they had unearthed the building's entry, as it was in a roped-off area that I had seen from afar before. Oh, it's brightly lit, too. When I entered the building, I was met by a long illuminated hallway that was lined with doors on both sides. Yeah, this just straight up looks like a lab. This is not what I was expecting. I was expecting some kind of ruin, but no, this is like pristine. Since the lights were already on, Reza had to be very close. I wasn't surprised at the building still having electricity, since its generators were also powering the portal. Suddenly one of the doors opened, and out came Reza, carrying a large cardboard box. When he spotted me, he set it on the ground. Ink, you're here? You don't know how glad I am to see you. I've wanted to talk with you for so long. I even tried to contact you, but I couldn't with someone tailing you the whole time. But talking can wait. Now that you're here, we've got everything. Come on, help me with this and we can get out of here. No. No? What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything until you answer a few questions. You want me to talk? You want to talk now? Sure, why not? We've probably got a few hours if we wanted to. None of them will disturb us here. We could even get the backup generator as well after we send this one over. When did you realize we were in the past? How did you know about the comet? I've known for a while. It's what I wanted to talk with you about when we met at the portal. How about you? I only recently found out. Looking back, it just seems so obvious to me now. I'm not sure how exactly you figured it out, but there are so many damn clues when you think about it. I mean, how could a supposedly completely different, independent civilization speak the same language as us? What was this supposed to be? An alternate reality? No, it was just a different time. When was there ever anything resembling these creatures on Earth? It's not hard to make the jump from dragons to dinosaurs, when some of them here look pretty damn near identical to the dinosaurs we knew about. And then there are also the prehistoric fruits, the plants, and the fact that their technological level is nearly the exact same as our own past society. But we don't even have to think that abstract. You just need to look at the sky. The sun, the moon, even the stars are the same. Constellations change over time, of course, but you know we could account for that stuff. You could have just pointed your PDA at the sky and it would have told you the time period, including the imminent threat of being eradicated. You could even see the meteorite in the sky and how it changes position day after day. Are you done being condescending? I guess so. You killed those dragons, Reza. What a brilliant deduction, Sherlock. Why did you do it? Do you really need me to spell it out? I thought better of you. After I found out the truth about this place, I knew just waiting for the generators we were owed was not an option anymore. It would have taken who knows how long, but I didn't intend to stay a day longer than necessary. You wouldn't believe how hard it was for me to acquire some generators. Some of the dragons didn't go down easily. But who cares that they got back the generators I stole? With just this one, we won't need any of the others. How could you do this? How could I do this? Let me ask you this. What harm is there really in taking their generators when their whole civilization will be gone in a few weeks anyway? The ones I killed just died a little earlier than scheduled. Even if that creep hadn't shown up and interrupted our meeting, we wouldn't have had the time for them to make the generators for us. Then, where did I get a then from? How about we don't let them all die? They aren't going to be extinct anytime soon, if that's what you're concerned about. I paid the hatchery another visit before I came here. With the right persuasion, I think we'll have plenty of reasons to keep at least some of them around. Bodyguards, border patrols, weapons, even as pets or companions, as long as we make the necessary changes. Their original intended purpose. Freaking fantastic. See, it's not as bad as you might think. I'm not going to just abandon them like that. Only for their whole civilization to be wiped out. Get your priorities straight, Ink. Next, you'd rather starve because you suddenly empathize with the steak. Just throwing a stab at vegetarians there. And you're not satisfied with just starving by yourself. No, you're gonna let all of us starve because you want to impose your morals on everyone. Just another jab at vegetarians. Since when do you think you have any say in this? You know why you're here. What you're proposing is treason and you know the consequences. Personally, I don't mind if you want to stay here. You know I don't care about corporal punishment. Just let me through and you can do whatever you wish. I can't do that, Reza. I see how it is. They've told you need this generator to stop the comet, huh? And now you've become their lackey. Don't tell me you've been drinking up what they've been telling you. You know that they have as much of a vested interest in the whole thing as humanity does. That I and you do, or at least used to. Do you think they wouldn't do the same thing if it was their families on the line instead of ours? Our entire world is on the line here. Their entire world is on the line here. They live in perfect harmony with their perfect green energy source and no region for wars or conflicts, yada yada yada. We had that too, and you know what happened then? Of course you do. This is such an idiotic trope, you know. Random person meets weird natives, learns their ways, and ends up saving them. It is, actually. That's commentary about the game in a way that I wasn't expecting. What do they need you for, huh? Maybe they're going to be extinct for a reason if they can't even save themselves. You know of our suffering, yet will let them have it? I don't care what happens to them, but unlike you, I was at least trying to save humanity. At any cost. We have the solution right here and you want to get philosophical now? Don't you think we deserve it? They've had it for who knows how long. Now it's time for us. Not like this. Do you think I like it? If there was a different way, I wouldn't have spent the last few weeks doing what you didn't. We don't live in this fairy tale world of yours where there's a perfect solution to everything. You should know that. Just being here for a few weeks must have messed you up. I think I know why. You got too used to all the comforts they have here. You actually don't care if they all die back home, do you? As long as you can stay here in this perfect little world of yours, you've discarded everything and everyone back home and replaced it with this. Maybe it's because you just don't have a life back home. I can even understand that a little. Of course, it'd be nice to just stay here where they have everything that we don't, but being here also reminded me of everything I hated about our world as it used to be. The pettiness and the politics. Say about the solar flare what you want, but it leveled the playing field and gave people like us a chance to make a difference. For all of our efforts, what did we get? A vote that was meaningless in a sea of stupidity and lies. Now everyone has to pull their own weight. We make the rules. You, of all people, should understand. Of course they wouldn't. They haven't experienced how it is, to live like we do now, to see the world burn and everyone you know die around you. And because I have, I won't let the same thing happen to them. How many do you think died back home just in the 2 weeks you've been here because we don't have power for the hospital, huh? Do you think those victims aren't worth mentioning, or do you just care about the few dragons I've killed? Our city— are you gonna let me get a word in edgewise as you're asking me all these questions? Our city is the last bastion of a civilized society in a world where nothing else is left. Maybe you have forgotten about them, but I haven't. How many of us do you think will still be there in a month? A year? Or are they just a statistic to you? The same could be said for the dragons. What do you want to do? Talk me down from doing this? And then what? It's too late anyway. You think they're just gonna let us go after what I've done? Fat chance. Whatever you may think, you'll find that our leaders back home agree with my course of action. Why are you telling me this? Because I expect you to join me. That's not going to happen. If there had been a choice, I definitely wasn't going to. And you call yourself an ambassador? This generator is the only thing we need for our city to survive. How can you even argue about this? The dragons also need that generator, and I'll do what's necessary to stop you if I have to. So that makes you the judge, jury, and executioner. What a wonderful set of morals you— Moils? What a wonderful set of morals you have there, Ink. We only have to wait until the comment is passed safely. You think you can stop the comment? I'm sneezing. Hold on. Okay, I pulled a quick mute, that's good. You think you can stop the comet, and you need this generator to do that? Sure, and if your plan fails, then not only is this world gone, but we also lose any and all hope to save our own. We're so close now, we can't risk everything by waiting for your crazy plan when back home they're dying by the minute. I will not let you. You only want to save your own two-faced hide because you don't want to have to face the consequences of what you did. Thinking about that a little bit? I don't like that smirk. Oh, he has a gun, I don't like that smirk. Oh, he's gone psychotic. Yep. Why are you laughing about this? That was a horrible laugh. We're gonna ignore it. Because it's a joke. It must be. I'm the one with the gun and you thought you could just waltz in here and lecture me? Listening to you is fun and all, but the grown-ups must get back to work now. I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't stop me now anyway. Oh, why'd the music have to cut? Oh, that makes everything more dramatic. Maybe I can. Oh my gosh. Oh, she got Maverick. Suddenly, Maverick and Adine appeared next to me. You planned this, didn't you, Ink? Traitor! And to think I let you distract me with such a cheap trick, just because I thought there was still a shred of humanity within you. Oh, ooh, that scared me. He pulled out his gun, not sure which one of us he should be aiming at. I mean, if you shoot me, you're gonna get torn to shreds by them. If you shoot one of them, you're gonna get torn to shreds by the other one of them, and I might tear you to shreds for it, to be fair. You don't have a good choice here. Like, you're not getting off many shots in this scenario. Just let me go and I'll forget this thing ever happened. You've got 6 bullets for 3 people. Do you think you can really do that, Reza? Do you think this is worth risking your life for? I've been risking my life for this every day the last 2 weeks. What did you do during that time? Sip champagne in your nice apartment? Besides, this generator and the whole building came from our time. They belong to humanity. Suddenly, the administrator came out of the shadows in the hallway behind Reza. No, they belong to me. I'm not muffling, because that was painful and useless. Confused, Reza suddenly spun around, aiming his gun at the newcomer who was slowly walking towards him. Who the fuck are you? Freeze! I said freeze! Want to waste your bullets on me? Feel free. You can't stop all of us. If you say so. I think we can tackle him now. He pulled the trigger and the administrator fell to the ground with a dull thud that knocked her mask off. Her. Very nice way to implement that. Good way to implement that reveal before even showing the picture. Reza was quick with his gun and shot Adine once before Maverick even had a chance to charge. And now he's freaking pissed. As Maverick ran towards him, Reza adjusted his aim before shooting at Maverick multiple times. I just got everyone killed, didn't I? This is unfortunate to say the least. Maverick stumbled and fell before Reza walked up to him and shot him in the head. I did get everyone killed, didn't I? What now, Ink? Are you gonna let me through, or do I have to finish the job with you? Adine was lying on the ground next to me, injured. That's in the chest. That is in the chest. I can hope it missed, and that's exactly what I'll do. Hope it missed vital things. Yes, it's literally going through her chest, and I'll hope it missed. Everyone knows what I mean. I looked over at Maverick and the Administrator. Both lay dead in a pool of their own blood. Maverick's definitely dead through the head like that. Now you hesitate to kill after doing all of this? It's your choice. Please. Just go. If you told me that just a few minutes ago, I wouldn't have had to do all this. Heck, you could have come with me, you stupid idiot. But if you want to die here with everyone else, feel free. Alright, step over there and lie on the ground. If I see either of you moving before I'm gone, I'll shoot. I did as he said and could only watch as he took the generator and left. While both Maverick and the Administrator were dead, it turned out that Adine's injury was fairly minor and she got the medical attention she needed. Oh, thank God. At least it didn't all go wrong. While I attempted to use the portal to follow Reza, however, I had to realize that humanity's portal was not accessible. After Reza had arrived on the other side, humanity must have quickly deactivated the portal in order to prevent anyone from connecting with it again. I warned the dragons about the comet, but with the generators from the underground building, Without the generators from the underground building, they failed at diverting the comet back enough to make a difference. As such, the only remaining option was for me to use the portal with the Administrator's coordinates, which should enable me to travel back in time to the day of my arrival in this world. I met with Adine for one last time to tell her about my plan. I would use the portal to try again, hoping for a better outcome. There will always be another year, huh? What are you talking about? That's what you told me during the summer festival when you talked me out of flying in the contest. There'll always be another year, so I didn't have to fly in this one. I'm sorry. Don't be. You did what you could. Even if it has to end like this, I enjoyed my time with you. Let's not have any regrets now. Thank you. Remember when I asked what you were going to do if you knew the world was going to end? You told me you would enjoy life to the fullest until the last moment. I guess you won't have to do that if you go back. And you won't have to either if I get to have any say in this. Can't I just come with you? Unfortunately, no. These coordinates are tied to my biometric data. Only I can use them. Oh well. Don't worry. I'll be back before you realize it, and nothing will have happened. I'll wait for you. Sighing a lot. Oh, I knew it. I knew it was just gonna end there. Oh my gosh. I am incredibly depressed now, but I can also say that that was wildly fantastic. And all these people showing up now, fantastic job. Every part of this game is absolutely flawless. I mean, we're not going to talk about, we're not going to talk about what I was mentioning. Oops. Wow, I need to watch that. We're not going to talk about earlier with, the background and discrepancies with descriptions and, a few time discrepancies with backgrounds, but I'm only even mentioning it because I'm just trying to make talk while this goes by. That has to be one of the worst possible endings, doesn't it? Like, the only thing I imagine could be worse is an ending where everyone else manages to die, which I imagine is probably an ending. There's probably endings where everyone else dies, where you die, where everyone else and you dies, and I'm just gonna hope that with my knowledge when and I say when because it's definitely happening, go back for another run at this. At least Adine survived. I mean, the comet's gonna wipe her out soon, but at least she did survive. And I can go back and try again. What I was mentioning earlier about no plot holes, too, that's the best no plot hole system. I'm pretty sure my brain just picked up system from that. That is interesting. And, okay, there was another part earlier where the system told me I had seen something, right? I'm pretty sure I remember that. And it might have actually been before I recorded. I don't remember it right now, but what this tells me is that most likely, I'm pointing at the screen, I just realized you can't see that. What this tells me is that if I go back and run it again, since, like I said, as I was about to say, with not even a plot hole in the fact that you can do it again, you literally take what knowledge you have and go back in time to do it again. It makes perfect sense. Well, I mean, as much sense as time travel can make, but we're not going to talk about that. But this tells me that hopefully I can use that knowledge to allow the administrator to get off the hook for things that happen, because I know that I almost said he, I know that she is not to blame for any of the crimes. Okay, let's see what happens next. Can I pause? No, I was going to see if I could check status now, which would just be interesting, but I have seen what lies beneath the mask. I have seen Adine's bad ending. Yes, I have. You've experienced just one of the many different endings of Angels with Scaly Wings. Oh, I am aware. In order to see the story's conclusion, you'll have to play through the game a number of times. Yeah. During the next playthrough, you might want to make different choices. You may even find the information you've gained this time to be helpful. No doubt. No doubt. Because I know that in the last run, Anna was killed very early, and I need to try and prevent that. I feel like she will be an asset. I don't know what else necessarily I'll need to do, but other than just, generally knowing that the person in the mask is not the culprit will be very helpful. Sometimes you might even notice that prior choices have changed a character or an aspect of the game's world permanently. Really? At any rate, feel free to employ the game's skip buttons, control and tab generously, as, by default, they will only skip text that you've already seen, making subsequent playthroughs much more palatable. Yeah, that's really good for any narrative game with more than one ending. I mean, if there's only 2 or 3, it's not necessary, but still, very nice. Can you find all the different endings? That's a really good question. To be honest, I probably will play this game to every ending. I don't know if I'll record and or post all of it, but at the very least, I'll probably record the next few endings at least until I get a fairly good ending on several occasions. I probably won't upload them relatively raw like I've been doing the rest. I'll probably cut them up a lot more, take out the stuff that we've already seen, but I will definitely be putting more of this up. I'm not entirely certain if I'm going to be splitting this into 2 episodes, but if it was, then I suppose 4 to 5 episodes per run will be average. Well, actually, if I'm cutting them down, it'll probably be even less episodes. So, I don't know, maybe we'll have 2 or 3 episode runs. But, you've seen your first ending. Yes, I have. Let's get through with this. And back to the endgame. Oh, what does this signify? Okay, that's Adine. I don't know exactly what that signifies, but that is Adine. Because you can see the strap, you can see the banana tail, and the wing structure and everything. I don't know what that means, but it's there. I mean, I imagine that probably means something along the lines of, because it's a silhouette of Adine, I got Adine's bad ending. That's probably what that means. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe by the end of this game you can see all of the characters out here. If you've gotten all the endings, that would actually be really neat. Let's check the gallery and see if we got anything. No. That's interesting. Okay. I don't know exactly what would go in the gallery, actually. I was kind of expecting Adine's shower scene to be in the gallery, but I guess not. But with that, I'm going to be concluding I can't even... No, no, that's just staying in here. I'm not cutting anymore at this point. I'm sure I'm sick of editing this. Without further ado, this is going to conclude our first run of Angels with Scaly Wings. Most likely, pretty soon after these next episodes are uploaded, or these last episodes, I suppose, have been uploaded for you guys, I will be doing a second run focusing on keeping Anna alive and hopefully doing whatever I can pertaining to knowing that the administrator is not the culprit. Or rather that the administrator is not Reza, I suppose. But I do sincerely hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back again for whatever I have to present. And I'll leave it here. See you next time.